How does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? Before we started to design our film character, we knew that we wanted a female playing as the protagonist. This is because we realized that in many action and revenge type movies, women are usually the secondary character or damsel in distress that is always saved by the male protagonist. And this has to do with veterinary props theory that he explains, where there are usually 7 to 8 character types within a narrative, and the female is usually made into a helper of the hero or a princess prize kind of character, which is why we wanted to go against that theory and make more of a statement, because we know how common these theories are actually. Like in James Bond movies, for example, we wanted the female protagonist to be more like Hannah, played by Saoirse Ronan in the movie Hannah that came out in 2011, as she is a very strong and independent woman. In our opening, we therefore decided to have Aubrey as the protagonist in order to depict a strong, independent female protagonist who doesn't need anyone's help to figure out the mystery behind her family's death. We didn't want to have Aubrey shown to be weak in any way, dependent of other characters to help her figure out anything, because we wanted to show the audience how self-reliant and unconventional she could be, and how the audience, especially the female audiences, to be able to relate to Aubrey in some way and help them have more self-confidence. As we noticed that action movies and revenge type movies are usually targeted towards men rather than women because of the amount of violence that is usually more showed by men rather than women, we decided to have a more balanced plot and less violence than in other action movies, but still enough to have both men and females enjoying the film. How does your product engage with audiences, and how would it be distributed as a real media text? So, since the target audience for the media product is not only men but also women from around 15 to 25 years old, which is mainly high school students and college students, because that is the age of Aubrey, the protagonist in the film, we wanted to show that, as previously said, not only can men be independent and really smart in resolving a mystery, but a female protagonist could also do the same just as well, if not even better. This was a way of encouraging and attracting a female audience in viewing and enjoying our media product as a real media text. And we would use social media because of its popularity and the fact that all teenagers and young adults use these different apps daily, as well as older people and parents, which is why social media is such an important platform to use when advertising a film event or kind of product in general. For these reasons, we would take advantage of its popularity in order to make the most of its advertisement it could make for our film. And different social media platforms include Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, and we would use them to post teaser trailers and full trailers in order to encourage our targeted audience to view the product. We would use Instagram to post behind the scenes shooting pictures and short videos. With Twitter, we would create a hashtag to promote our real product that would be very simple and effective, and that would also encourage female empowerment and feminism. How did your production skills develop throughout this project? So throughout the project, there were some complications along the whole process because I was in a group with 2 other people. Unfortunately, I didn't have much time to get to know my partners before the project started, and therefore I didn't know how invested they were in the whole process until we started it. And we started by doing the script, which we did together, as well as the storyboard, which took a lot of time thinking about kinds of shots we wanted, but we realized afterwards that we didn't have enough time to do everything together, so we divided the task between the 3 of us. I did the shot list, which was really tricky because of a large variety of shots possible, and because I wasn't sure what would be the best for what. I also did costumes and props, which was also really easy because I had a clear image of what I wanted the mise en scène and of the opening to look like. A lot of things had to be changed because we were running out of time and things didn't always work out the way we wanted it to go, but we did make it in the end. I definitely know now how complicated it can be in a group when you're getting to know partners as you're completing a project, and it's a valuable lesson that I have learned. I know for sure that I wasn't an amazing partner at times either, and I'm grateful that we still managed to work together despite the problems we faced. And in terms of skills that I learned throughout the completion of the project, I learned many things that I'm surely going to use later on in the future. Firstly, I learned how to manage solutions last minute when some things weren't going according to plan. I also learned how angles and shots, as well as lighting, can really influence the way the audience perceives characters and scenes in films, as a shot that isn't well done or is taken from the wrong angle can change up the whole mood that is trying to be conveyed to the audience by the directors and actors, and the wrong lighting can ruin the perception of the scene from the audience point of view. For example, when we were filming the basement scene, we ran into many complications as we had to film during the morning and afternoon rather than the afternoon and evening because the actors couldn't come any later than that time. This made it so that there was too much light coming in to the room we were using as a basement, and in the opening, the atmosphere we tried to create wasn't exactly what we had in mind. Since my role was mostly about the set and mise-en-scène design, filming the scenes wasn't my responsibility. Instead, I helped with angles and shots that are best for what we were filming. And another part that I did was editing, and this was very intimidating at first because of the variety of different softwares available and all of the technical aspects of it. We tried to edit on Adobe Premiere Pro at first, but with all the different sections and parts to it, and knowing that neither of the three of us had ever used this program, we concluded that we would use iMovie since one of my partners had used it many times before and she knew how to use it pretty well. So she would bring the tablet to school and we would meet up as many times as possible in the week to be able to edit together and make the decisions together. This is how we edited most of the opening, but I ended up having to finish the editing on the computer in my house because of how much faster and easier it is on it, so I definitely ended up improving on my editing skills among many others. I did integrate technology, software, hardware, and online in this project. So we used a Canon camera to film the pinning board scene, but the day we chose to film the basement scene, the person in charge of bringing the camera forgot it, so we ended up having to film it on a phone instead. This restricted us from being able to have the best quality as possible in our movie opening. As for the editing, as I already mentioned, we used iMovie on the tablet and then on the computer to facilitate the editing process.